as you go through the preliminary classes to get into prac training, one of the classes you can stop through is meditation is more than you think. And I was lucky that the two teachers that facilitated that class really spent a lot, I found out later, they spent a lot of extra income of their own to make sure that we had experiences that brought a whole bunch of experts in. We had a laughing meditation, and we walked a labyrinth, and we did art. And one of the requirements of that class was to do a mandala every week. We were to take home a mandala and do that on our own time. And what I found is when I was doing the mandalas, I was transported, and I was really, of all the activities we did, I found that I gravitated towards that as being the one that really opened me up, made me excited to do my homework. And it also started me back on the journey of doing artwork altogether, which is kind of where you'll see when we do this first opening meditation. When I was a child, that was, if you saw me in anywhere in my room or in the living room, I was always doodling. If teachers were giving instructions for math, I was doodling. I was always in motion. And I find even now, if I'm in a serious meeting, if there's any paper and pen, I don't know if I frustrate the facilitators because it looks like I'm not paying attention, but it actually is helping me to pay attention more. So
yeah, me too.
Yay. So you're in the right place.
I got ADD, so.
Okay, well.
I make circle in line.
So, why do art as a meditation? Let's start first of all that I've tried when you want to be a practitioner, or even if you're in AA or you're in therapy, how many times have we been told to meditate? It's like common instruction thing to do so that you can deepen in your process. And I got excited about that and started to attend Self-Realization Fellowship. Well, if you go to Self-Realization Fellowship, they are serious meditators, okay? I mean, you're supposed to be seeing a lotus in your head, and then you've got a burst of light, and so I would sit. It almost reminds me of that scene in Eat, Pray, Love, where Julia Roberts has a hard time with her time in India and starts to instead want to greet people. It wasn't that bad. I did get some deep levels with meditation, but I found that a lot of times my mind would be wandering all the time. And so, but I've tried various modalities to get there. And so art, basically what we're talking about, I'm glad you guys have a chalkboard in here because
Push it to the other side. Books in the middle.
I really don't need that much room. But I've just read this in a book last night in preparation for this class, and it's very interesting to me. These are brain waves, levels of activity in the brain that neurologists have studied and found to be true. The first level is called alpha. The second level is called beta. The third level is called theta, and the last level is delta. When you are engaged in your daily activities and you're in conscious thought and communicating, passing ideas around, your brain waves are very active. As you begin to relax, maybe when you get off work and maybe have your glass of wine or whatever you do to unwind, you begin to come down a little bit into beta. This is the most important for what we're doing here today, theta. This is when you have done some meditation or some kind of spiritual practice. You've gone below beta, you're below the relaxed level, and you're beginning to go into that creative mode that you have insight, you have stream of consciousness, you have those things that just sort of spontaneously float into consciousness where you have, maybe you went with an intention into your spiritual practice and all of a sudden you think, wow, I totally know what I'm going to do now. But you didn't muscle it, it just floated into consciousness. So theta is what the goal is of any meditation. And this is what I'm telling you, is I found that for me, the act of coloring keeps me keeps me engaged long enough where I can move in from beta into theta and stay there longer. It's not the only way that it can be done. So my mom and I were talking on the drive up here that she feels that writing does this for her more. She allows herself to get into theta, but you want to be in theta if you are going to want to connect with the divine. This is why the masters of meditation have been teaching us long before neurologists were studying our brain, that the more time you spend within, the more you're going to have a conscious contact with God. This delta phase, this is you asleep. This is just you out. And so, you know, this is restorative, but all the magic happens here. So this is something to keep in mind when we start our exercises. We're going to be working, when we're in the act of drawing our pictures and creating, I would really like to encourage you to help each other out by doing so in silence and just with the music. Let the music transport you, and just try to get down. And if I'm going to do a guided meditation, that sometimes works for people, sometimes it doesn't. The point is to let yourself go down the levels and try to get into that inspired spot called theta. Okay, I thought this was super interesting. So the other thing I wanted to talk about in regards to why art journal is that it is also a prayer. How many of you have taken classes in religious science? Are all of you fairly, okay, good.
In what?
In science of mind, taken some science of mind classes?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that when we take a religious science class, that it's not so much just about affirming things, because unless you're actually believing something, then it's just words, right? It's even Kevin said it today in his talk. It's the belief and the emotion and the volition that comes with your prayer that's really where you're attracting or repelling. So one of the benefits to use art journaling as a prayer is that, let's say you wanted to, okay, I'll use an example. We have a friend, Mom and I, a 102-year-old friend, and she wanted very much to have prayer for her neuropathy. She has severe neuropathy. So I'm a practitioner, and so what I did to really hold her in that emotional volition, intention state is I drew her and then drew her feet and drew light going into her feet, and I'm staying engaged in that state of theta while I'm doing this intentional drawing for Iola Brown. And we all know prayer works, but I will just tell you that a number of things opened up for Iola Brown after I drew her feet. So you can use it for that purpose, to stay in the emotional part, you know, rather than just say a prayer and then move back into it. It gives you that time to really saturate into what your intention is with art. And so the first exercise we're going to do is going to start right after I do the guided meditation. But I was wondering if I could get my friend Monique to talk a little bit about a drawing that she did in my first class and where it